Hey guys, welcome to our new kitchen. The last time we talked, or one of the last times we talked about us moving out of our Garden City kitchen and into a couple of different new kitchens here on the Grand Strand, your seafood capital of the world. And today, we are in one of those kitchens. We are in the beautiful Prodigy Kitchen and Bath showroom here in Pawleys Island. This is a kitchen that I get to call home at least once a week for my cooking classes, and I'm so happy to have you guys here. But today, we are talking about Crawfish Monica. New Orleans is celebrating Mardi Gras coming up. Well, after Mardi Gras is the Jazz Festival, the New Orleans Jazz and Music Festival, and there is a lot of food, a lot of culture that lives through that festival on a yearly basis. And one of those dishes, one of those iconic dishes that we get to experience there at the festival is called Crawfish Monica. And Crawfish Monica was developed by a chef named Pierre for his wife, Monica. How sweet is that? So he named this dish after his wife, Monica. And today, I'm gonna put my own Chef Dylan spin on that dish. I'm gonna add a little bit, I'm gonna change it a little bit, put a little flair in it. So I'm gonna change the name and I'm gonna call it Crawfish Angela, after my wife, who loves this dish and loves this kind of cooking. And today happens to be Valentine's Day here, so happy Valentine's Day, Angela. I love you. Well, anyway, back to the cooking. Let's get back into the flavor, all right? Crawfish, main ingredient, the star of the show. We're gonna pair it with a little bit of Rotini Pasta, all right? I love this kind of pasta because it's got the ridges it's gonna really hold in. So we're gonna start that pasta right now. We've got some boiling water, heavily salted. I heavily salt the water before we start that. So that's gonna season the pasta as it cooks. Very important. If you're not doing that at home, make sure you start. These crawfish come from Louisiana, a company out of DuPont, Louisiana, all natural, domestic crawfish tails. They've already been cooked. They've already been cleaned, obviously. So our crawfish, we're gonna get seasoned up first. We're gonna start the seasoning here on the crawfish and let that seasoning kind of soak right into the meat itself. And I've got a little blend, a 2 different spice blend. First, I'm gonna use a little bit of a Slap Yo Mama. Now, I don't really like the name, Mama, I love you. I would never slap you, but they make a pretty good seasoning. And I think this has got a decent heat level, a little tang, little salt level that I like. So we're gonna start with a little Slap Your Mama, and then I'm gonna go in with the traditional Tony Chachere's from Louisiana coming in. I think the Tony Chachere's is a little sweeter, so the combo between the two is really nice in my opinion. We have a little sweet, a little heat, and you know those two go really well together always. So a crawfish now, nice and seasoned up, and as always, you can see the seasoning right there on them. All right, if it looks like it's got flavor, chances are it probably has flavor. So there's our crawfish working there. Let's rinse our hands off a little bit. Now, let's go in for our vegetables, getting them ready to go. We're gonna start with a little bit of shallot. Now, if you don't have shallots at the house, you could use white onion, yellow onion, red onion, really whatever you have. Don't stress on the particulars of the ingredient. Use what you got. It's just food. Don't stress. So we're gonna peel our shallot here, and shallot is a really mild kind of a member of the onion family. You can eat it raw, you can eat it cooked. It's got a little sweetness to me, little hints of garlic, so I like to use it whenever I can. It really sounds fancy. I'm using shallots, right? It elevates it a little bit, maybe. So we're gonna slice up our shallots really thin. All right, there we go. So the shallot's getting nice and ready. Then we're gonna come in here with our pepper. We're gonna use 3 different colors of pepper. We're gonna use our green pepper, a red pepper, and an orange pepper. Really bright, really colorful dish. So we'll start with our green pepper here, and I'm only gonna use about a quarter of it. We don't need to use the whole thing. A little bit of orange going in. Remember, top and bottom off. And then we roll that knife right underneath. And don't forget about the red. You know, red's my favorite color. Just look at the beard if you forget. And the combo of these peppers is gonna be a really nice flavor, also really beautiful on the plate. So the pasta is about this long. We're trying to design the dish now. So the pasta is about that long. We want our vegetables to kind of match the length of the pasta, so it's gonna be really nice, uniform bite as we eat. So we're gonna split this pepper down the middle. So we're gonna have nice uniform sizes of our pepper, and now we're just gonna slice and dice these up. So real thin on the orange, real thin on the green, and now some red. All right, so we got our peppers, nicely fine, kind of like a half julienne. All right, really thin, really small. We've got our shallots. Let's get a little bit more shallot here. We've got our pan behind her. So for this dish, I'm gonna use a high-sided saute pan or kind of a braising pan. See, I've got the really high sides there. That's gonna allow me to add all of the ingredients into the pan without worrying about it sloshing out and falling out. So let's get our pan up and working here. We're gonna be on like a medium heat, depending on your stove, right? This is a really nice gas stove. So I got a little bit more leeway maybe than you have at your house. If you're working on an electric stove, you might wanna go a little higher. But this bad boy here gets up real hot, real fast. We're gonna then use a little bit of butter and a little bit of olive oil here for our dish. We're gonna start with a high quality olive oil. Why am I using olive oil? Remember, I always ask myself, what is the job of the oil in this dish? This job of this oil is to become part of the dish and part of the flavor. So a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of butter, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of butter. Gonna build a nice foundation. In with our shallots. And you hear that sizzle, that's how we know we're getting hot. A little bit of sizzle is always good. Work those shallots in that pan. It's amazing when you cook shallots in butter, how quickly it starts to smell so delicious in the kitchen. It's just almost immediate. It's great. We're gonna now go in with our multicolored, really beautiful peppers. Looking good, it's smelling good. Let's go with a little bit of garlic. And you know my rule, if you got the jarred stuff at the house, use it, all right? I mean, that is a pool that I would like to jump into all day long, all day long. So while that's building in the pan, let's add some more to that flavor foundation. We've got the butter, the shallots, the garlic, the peppers. Let's get that rolling a little bit deeper. Let's go in with the same seasonings that we hit the crawfish with, a little bit of Slap Your Mama. Again, I don't like the name. Mama, I love you. I would never slap you, but they make some good seasoning. And then a little Tony Chachere's going in here as well. Seasoning the bottom of the pan. When the butter and the seasoning and that oil mixes, it's gonna start to create a little bit of fond on the pan, right? Some burnt on, some crispy bits of flavor there in the bottom of the pan, and that's what we want. As that seasoning kind of caramelizes, we want it to kind of stick to the pan, because then we're gonna come in and bring it all up or deglaze it with some white wine, all right? So we're looking for that flavor to kind of get a little dark, get a little bit more flavor action going on so that we can bring it up and incorporate into the dish in a second. All right, guys, so the pasta is ready to cook. I just finished juggling my bowls. As you see, had a little trouble getting those bowls out of the cabinet. Whatever, you know, so just juggling the bowls a little bit. Pasta's ready to go. So pull them out. Let's test one of these pastas. Little Rotini pasta. Pull it out. Oh, rock and rolling. Drain it right into our pot. All right, turn that burner off. These are good to go. Oh, tossing them. We're getting excited here. Tossing them, pasta to the side, waiting. Now look at this pan, like we were talking about. See the burnt on little bits there? The seasoning is kind of caramelized with that butter. That is exactly what we were looking for, because now we're gonna come in with our white wine, and that white wine is just gonna immediately start to boil. And all of that flavor, why not? Let's get it all in there. That flavor is just gonna come up right from the bottom of that pan. So now all those burnt on bits are now right up into the sauce, and it's gonna start boiling down, reducing, concentrating those flavors. They're gonna go from here and get really nice and delicious, come a little closer together, a little bit more concentrated, and build more of that flavor foundation that we're always talking about. The difference between an okay dish and a really good dish is how you build those layers of flavor. If you kind of throw everything in at one time, you're not gonna have a really stable foundation. But as you build it slowly over time, the dish will be really, really nice and round and balanced. So that is always what you should be looking for. This is gonna reduce now for a couple of minutes, let those flavors concentrate and boil down and get nice and happy. All right, guys, so the wine is nice and reduced down. Check that out. It's kind of boiled down. It's created almost like a syrup in there, a wine syrup. I mean, if that doesn't sound delicious, you go ahead and get out of my kitchen, because that is what we love. So to this, now let's add the richness. We've got a little bit of heavy cream going in, and this is the base of our sauce. And when I say a little bit, we're doing a grand strand little bit. A little bit, sometimes there's a lot of it, but that's okay. It's gonna be good. So we've got our wine, we've got our heavy cream now. Let's go in with a little bit of hot sauce. And this is where you can determine how spicy you like it. If your family really likes things spicy, go ahead and add the whole bottle or add half the bottle, whatever you like. If you're not really a fan of spice, then lighten it up a little bit. You know me, I'm a little bit of a spicy sis. So I don't like to go too hot, but my wife, remember we're making Crawfish Angela, right? This is not for me, this is for my beautiful wife, Angela. She likes it a little spicy, so we're gonna make it a little bit spicier for her because you know what they say, happy wife, happy life. I'm cooking for her today, not for myself. So this now, the hot sauce is in there, all of the flavors of the pan are in there, that cream is in, so it's now gonna start to, once again, reduce and concentrate. But I have a little bit of a trick to show you, and don't you show anybody else. I'm gonna add a little bit of tomato paste to mine. And the way I like to do tomato paste, you know when you open a can of tomato paste, you just use a little touch, and then it goes to waste. So I like to take it in a bag, flatten it out, kind of score it a little bit, and then you can pull it out and just kind of break off little pieces and leave the rest and just use what you need. So that way you're not opening up an entire can of tomato paste. You save it in the bag, score it as you need to. You can do little squares, you can do big squares, whatever you typically use. And then you can just pull it out, break it off as you need to, put it back in that freezer and not throw it away ever again. Don't tell the tomato paste companies that because they might sue me, right? They want you to keep opening these cans up. So a little bit of tomato paste going in, that is going to help add a richness to the color, a little bit more depth of flavor that we're gonna love. And don't worry about being frozen. When you throw it in, it'll melt relatively quickly. So this is just gonna continue to boil down. Make sure our heat is nice and high. We don't want it to burn and break. If you just walk away at this point and leave it to its own devices, it might overboil and then break. And when I say break, I mean the butter and the cream will separate and you'll have that kind of loose sauce that you'll just be really oily instead of nice and cohesive and rich and delicate on the palate. So that's what I say. When I say that sauce might break, that's what I mean. So we're gonna watch it and just let everything go together. So while this is working, our heavy cream is boiling down, we're gonna finish cutting and prepping the rest of our vegetables. So we got a couple of more things to do here. We got some green onions or scallions. We've got some fresh parsley right here. And we've got some citrus, some lemon juice. That'll go in right at the end. Excuse me, Mr. Pepper. So let's talk about parsley first. The stems of parsley, you want to pop those off. Just want to be using the leaves here. Parsley stems get really bitter, like a mother-in-law after a long visit, right? Really bitter parsley stems. You want to pop those off and just use the leaves. Just kidding, Vivian, I love you. You could never stay too long. We're gonna pop the stems off of our leaves of the parsley. If you got the little stems, the little baby stems in between the leaves, that's okay. I'm mainly worried about the big stems here as we're cleaning it off. And as always, when you're getting your herbs from the grocery store or the market, make sure you rinse them off really well because these things tend to be really sandy. So parsley, chopping up our parsley real quick. We're just gonna ball it up. Just a little rough chop on the parsley. Woohoo, fresh parsley, smelling good in the kitchen this morning. Fresh parsley, now a little bit of green onion. So we're gonna slice these up really, really small. I always get questions about green onions, like, Chef, which part of the green onion am I supposed to use? I think that's a silly question because you can use the entire thing. It's just a matter of what you're looking for. For me, I'm looking for just the green as like a garnish, right? So we're just gonna use the top part as kind of a garnish. If I wanted to use the bottom part, I could have used it earlier, like when we added the shallots. You could have chopped up this part, the thicker, the heartier part of the green onion or the scallion, and thrown it in with the shallots. It would have been a great substitute even for any of the onion. If you only had green onion, you could still do this dish. So there's our parsley, our green onions. Let's get our lemons ready to go. I see the sauce back there getting real happy. So we gotta move it a little quick. So I'm rolling these lemons out to break up those membranes on the inside, make sure they're gonna be nice and juicy for us. I think we'll only need one, but just in case. Let's check out our sauce. Starting to get thick here. Now to test it, we want it to coat the back of a metal spoon. That is what the French call nappe. So we're gonna grab a metal spoon here out of our drawer. We're gonna dip it in the sauce, and then we're gonna draw a line through the back of the spoon. And if that sauce holds that line, that's the consistency that we're looking for. So real quick, just kind of dip it in the back, just like that. Draw a line through, and you see how it holds? See that? That's what we're looking for, right? ABT. Always be tasting. So into this, we're gonna add a touch more butter to give it a little bit more richness. So the butter going in, Now let's take our pasta from earlier, pasta going in. And there's a little bit of pasta water still in there. That's what we want. We want some of that pasta water to go in that sauce also, because it's gonna create a little bit of a velvety consistency. Things are getting happy real fast. Let's go ahead and kill the heat. And it looks like there's not a lot of sauce. When you mix in the rotini pasta, it just drinks up all the sauce, which is what we want. All right, we want that to happen because all those little crevices on that rotini pasta are just kind of holding it all in, which is what we're looking for. In goes our fresh parsley and our green onions. Here we go. Give that a toss. Oh boy. In goes the star of the show, our crawfish that we seasoned up earlier. So we're just gonna push all this crawfish right into that dish. Look at this. It's called Crawfish Angela for a reason. That is the star of the show. Give this a toss. Oh, look how pretty. Oh man, she's gonna love this. Gentlemen, you see how easy this is to make for a Valentine's Day dinner or just an any day dinner, right? Great. All right, in with a little bit of citrus to finish it off. I never cook the citrus. I'm always adding the citrus at the very end. That's because I want to preserve those kind of tarty citrus notes. So there's one. Let's add another one right here at the end. So we're gonna have a really nice citrusy note. Boom, boom, boom. Get our plate ready. Here we go on this. Plate right here. Toss this up. Let's hit it with a little bit more of our Slap Your Mama right there at the end. A little bit more Satcheries, Tony Satcheries. Here we go. Crawfish Angela hitting the plate. All right, get all of that flavor right onto the top. Don't let it live in the pan. We want it on the plate. Get it all. We built that foundation. We want to use it. But wait, there's more, right? But wait, there's more. There's always more. Onto the top. Here we go. A little bit of Parmesan or Asiago cheese, whatever you got, raining down upon us. Woo-hoo-hoo! Cheese storm. We don't get snowstorms here in the South, we get cheese storms, and that's the way we like it. So a little bit of cheese there on the top, and there you go. A little Crawfish Angela in the seafood capital of the world, your Grand Strand. Guys, never miss a bite here on The Hook. We can't wait to have you back. Never miss flavor like this. And while we're talking about it, I'm going in to taste it. So here we go. Crawfish Angela, beautiful dish. Let's get a little bit of a crawfish. See our peppers, the shallots, all right in there. Man. Angela, you're gonna love this one. A little bit of heat there right in the beginning, followed with the crunch of the crawfish and the peppers kind of mixing together. Not a crunch, but they're really good texture, right? We didn't overcook anything. Really nice bite, really balanced dish. This is love. Love on a plate, guys. Crawfish Angela, check this out. Super simple, great for a weeknight, great for a date night, great for any night. Don't forget to join us next time on The Hook so you never miss a bite. Your places, faces, and tales of your Myrtle Beach seafood. Until then, keep the flavor rolling, guys.
Beach easy.